Yo, what is good, guys, and welcome back to our F1 Ultra Career Mode. We're here now for the Canadian GP and Season 2 of the series. I don't know what part it is, to be fair, but anyways. Last time out in Monaco, we did not have a pretty good race, to be fair, and yeah, we DNF'd, unfortunately. But I have high hopes for Canada. Since last time out, we finished P8 or P on track, but P9 with penalties, so yeah. Component-wise, we're not really looking too bad, to be fair. And yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. Championship standings, I think we're still P18. Leclerc still leads the championship after Hamilton only finished P4. Bottas is sat in P3 just ahead of Vettel on both Red Bulls, and Kimi's still P12, I think, or P11 on 12 points. We're in the meantime in P18, like I said earlier. We've only scored 1 point finish, and to be fair, I don't think that's really good, considering last season we've scored 3, I think, by this point already, which isn't great. But yeah, we're gonna head into the race and see what happens.
Hello and welcome from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, home to the Canadian Grand Prix, for today's qualifying session. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on in the corners and max out down the straights?
Top speed is a key factor for this circuit. Even if you can achieve the same lap time as someone running less wing than you, chances are you'll find overtaking difficult if you have too much drag.
I mean, yeah, Anthony, you're practically right, to be fair. You do need you need to focus mainly on top speed on this track, because the track is basically just mainly straights, to be fair. And there isn't really anything special on the Gilles Villeneuve circuit, to be fair. I mean, to be fair, I am pretty good at it, so I think I could get a good result here if I just keep the car stable, to be fair. And through most of these corners, I can push really well, to be fair. So yeah, that might be an advantage for me, even though I'm not too sure if getting into Q3 might be easier now, because Alfa Romeo have now the second worst car by a bit of a gap, because Toro Rosso and Renault upgraded their cars, so it will be harder for yeah, my teammate and myself to probably be able to get into Q2 and Q3 due to how bad the car is at some tracks. But I don't think that's going to be much of a problem, to be fair. And yeah, as you can see in Q1, we set the fastest final sector 3, so we do actually have pretty good pace here. And that lap was enough for us to make it into Q2, which is pretty good. Raikkonen, shockingly, was actually last place, you know. I don't know what happened to him, as is Norris, both Williams, Gasly, and Raikkonen out in Q1. To be honest, Q2 was an absolute breeze. On our first lap, we didn't go that quick. We only went P11, to be fair. But eventually, I knew there was a lot of time to be found. Yeah, I did do a couple of mistakes on the first lap, but I knew the second lap would be a lot better anyway.
We need a good lap here, or we're out of qualifying.
I mean, Jeff, no offense, that's literally just what I said. So yeah. But to be fair, I was quite comfortable, and eventually, yeah, heading into the final corner, we were already like 5 tenths up, so it wouldn't be that much of a problem, even though I kind of cut the corner for some reason, and well in the grass. But still, we had a 4-10 margin, and eventually we ended up P6 with the lap, so yeah, we were easily through into Q3 now. As it was Magnussen, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Grosjean, and Kvyat all out in Q2. Okay, I don't know why I felt weird when I said Q2 there. I was doing like separate voiceovers just for the video, and yeah, to be fair, we were now into Q3, and I had really high hopes. Maybe I could even get a top 3 maybe position, who knows. As I eventually ran off the final corner on our first lap, we were on a USELF tyre this time, and eventually, looking at our first lap, we were actually only 3 tenths off Sebastian Vettel, so maybe we could be fighting for pole. Now, I'm not saying this could actually happen, of course, because I'm in the second worst car. Surely this can't be possible, right? But going on to the track for my final lap in Q3, eventually, I actually was able to nail most of these 2 corners here, and eventually I was already 2 tenths up, so that was already pretty good eventually. And eventually, going through this corner, we were able to do it a lot better, as we were able to use the curve a little bit more and eventually go much quicker, and eventually we actually ended up staying at purple sector 1. Somehow, I have no idea how I managed to do that, to be fair, and we're almost 5 tenths up with our best lap, well, 6 tenths up now, so maybe this could be the lap, which would bring me onto pole position or something, I don't know. And eventually going through here, I did unfortunately go a little bit wide here, but that didn't really affect our lap, but we're now 7 tenths up, and look at the sections, we're only actually 27 thousandths off Lewis Hamilton, actually. So yeah, maybe this could be a good lap eventually, as Hamilton does set a quicker lap doing a 9.3, and we have to improve by 9 tenths just to have a chance at pole. I was thinking to myself, no, this can't be happening, like seriously. And eventually going through the final 2 corners where I didn't push as hard eventually, I took it, went a little bit over the curve, and eventually we're almost a second up, and this can't be real, bro.
Fantastic. You've got pole.
Okay, wait, no, we've somehow qualified on pole position. How is this possible? How?
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Lucky, Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
Okay, there's absolutely no way we just beat Hamilton by 1/10 to go on pole position, whilst Raikkonen starting P20. Our teammates starting P20, we're starting P1. Yeah, low-key the game might just be broken, but anyways, we can move on to the race now.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. It's a tricky circuit to tackle in wet conditions, with top speed still of critical importance down the long back straight. There are 2.7 miles and 14 corners overall on a circuit that in the dry can see average lap speeds of around 130 miles per hour. We'll be lucky to get anywhere near that today. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Let's talk about lucky. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition, but Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start.
That's right, it is a difficult environment to come into. In junior categories, you're competing against drivers with similar levels of experience, but some of these guys in Formula One have been there for over a decade. But I have to say, in this case, it's so far so good.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lucky lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, and Verstappen, Stroll, Perez, Albon, and Daniel Ricciardo, Magnussen, Sainz, Nico Hülkenberg, and Grosjean, Kvyat, Norris, George Russell, and Robert Kubica. Gasly and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid, and with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Trying to cover the inside line off the start.
Yeah, I'm probably going to cover the inside line at the start, to be fair, as now we're going to be starting the Canadian GP from pole position, and it's 5 lights out, and away we go for the Canadian GP, as we do not really have a good start. Hamilton tries to get us, but Vettel tries to go on our left side. It's going to be free wide into turn 1. We do stay in P1, however, as, oh, I think Hamilton just took us. Okay, I don't know what he's doing yet. We got warning of a collision with Vettel, but we're in P1 still, which is pretty good, to be fair. I somehow did not fumble the start like Lando Norris does in 2024. Oh my days. Yep, and that corner is absolutely terrible. I have just absolutely gone deep and hit the wall. That is not great. We didn't get damaged though, and to be fair, Hamilton really wants to get past us, to be fair. But we're in the lead still, which is nice, and we have a 6-7 margin of Hamilton. Well, not anymore, because through this corner I am very slow compared to the guys. Hamilton is right on my inside, and I have a little bit of a snap of roller steer. And he's going to be going side by side with me now, and I hopefully can try and make a move here, as I'm going to send it down his side of me and get past him again, and oh, I completely go off the track. I somehow did not get a corner climb in for that, but we're still ahead of Hamilton, which is pretty good. I have no idea what this is even real, to be fair. As we're going to break here for the corners, unfortunately we go a little bit deep, and that is really not going to help us, to be fair. We do overall a better exit, as Hamilton is behind us now. I think we're holding up practically most of the field, to be fair. But yeah, we're starting to gap with some of the back markers now. I mean, yeah, to be fair, we're already gapping them because we're in P1 black, you know. And I think Raikkonen has made up 1 position of the start, which is pretty good. As yeah, we're going to go through this corner here, and then absolutely jump over the curves. And now we're still in P1. We actually have a decent margin of Hamilton behind, so this is pretty good, to be fair. And we send the fastest lap. So yeah, this is pretty awesome, to be fair. Who knows, maybe I could get the win, but I'm not trying to jinx myself, but this probably might not, to be fair, if I'm being completely real. I mean, to be completely honest with you guys, I have like no idea how I've ended up in this situation and how we're like fighting for the win, which is kind of wild. But unfortunately, we have a terrible corner exit, and eventually Hamilton's actually right behind us, and yeah, Hamilton's getting close, so I think he's gonna try and send it here at the hairpin here. As you can see, he's pulling right here. I'm gonna brake very early. I'm gonna try to switch back on him, even though that switch back was absolutely terrible for me, to be fair. I'm going on the curve, and I'm kind of cause my exit to be a little bit bad, but eventually we do have the ERS here, and because Hamilton's right in front of us, we can get a substitute, and eventually we're getting closer to Hamilton, and now we're going to try and get past him here as he's weaving a little bit. I don't know why, I thought he was going to squeeze me into the wall, but eventually we're going to send it here down the inside of Hamilton, and oh, we break a little bit late, and yeah, we're going to want to forgo. Last time out in Canada, we ended up getting 12 seconds of penalty due to corner cut, so hopefully we don't do the same thing here, and I actually ended up pushing Hamilton a little bit wide, so Vettel's now fighting Hamilton, which means that I can now start gapping it, which will really help me, to be fair, so that's pretty awesome, and yeah, hopefully we can stay in the lead for a lot longer. Well, talking about corner cuts, we end up getting our second warning in like 2 laps, or 1 lap, I mean, and that is really not going to help us, because if we get a penalty, this could cost us the win maybe, but I don't know if I'm even going to have the pace for the win. I feel really slow, to be fair. And Hamilton and Vettel are fighting, which is really helping me now, because Hamilton's now almost 3 seconds behind, which is pretty good. However, I would eventually get a penalty on lap 5, which really is not going to help me. As to be honest, getting penalties whilst in this position is really not going to be useful, as the AI barely get any penalties for corner going, because they're actually a lot smarter than me, to be fair. And Hamilton does get the fastest lap, actually, and yeah, he's actually quicker than me now, so I don't think there's really much I can do now. And yeah, he is actually closing in by a considerable margin, which is kind of scaring me, but yeah, like I said earlier, I was expecting to fight for the win, to be fair. I mean, I kind of was for the first few laps, but I'm honestly starting to lose pace, because my tires already feel dead, and it's only lap 6. Which is concerning, because I'm honestly terrible at tire, as you can see. Yeah, I completely went very deep, to be fair. I somehow got a green sector 1 though, and I have no idea. As yeah, Hamilton is practically very close to us, yeah, he's only about 1.5 seconds behind now, and yeah, this is really not gonna look well for me, as yeah, I wouldn't mind getting overtaken by Hamilton, as I could probably just let him pass in case I did not have the pace, but I want to at least finish on the podium maybe on this race, even though the penalties might make it a lot harder, to be fair. So yeah, maybe I should now focus and try and lock in, even though I go really deep, but Hamilton's not really catching up now in the second sector. In the second sector is really where I lose the time, to be fair. In the first sector and third sector, well, I'm fine, so yeah. However, it does seem like that Hamilton really wants to get past me, to be fair, as on lap 7, he tries to overtake me around the outside, but that's not going to work, as I'm able to defend very well, to be fair. So yeah, the pressure may be starting coming to me, as Hamilton's really willing to get past, and yeah, I mean, I might just let him pass at some point, but I can find him, actually. I think I have the pace to do that, to be fair. And to be fair, I am not cutting the chicane, because the final chicane, the reason I'm actually a bit quick is probably because I abuse the final chicane sometimes. And yeah, to be fair, I don't want to do that, because if I do, I'll probably get another, more penalties. So yeah, my goal is probably just to try and keep Hamilton behind me for as long as possible, but the tires are eventually going to die off, which means that'll become a lot harder, to be fair. So yeah, eventually I'm going to have to lock in, as yeah, Hamilton is just right there, to be fair.
In the pack, P1 Hamilton is behind you. The gap is less than a second. They're on old inters.
I mean, Jeff, you didn't really give me much information there. I mean, Vettel's about 4 seconds behind. I think he's battling with Bottas, so yeah, maybe we could actually stay ahead of maybe Vettel also, but like this, considering Hamilton and Leclerc are fighting for the championship, this is actually a bad race for Leclerc, because Leclerc is only a P5 at the moment, whilst Hamilton is P2. So yeah, if Hamilton gets past me and takes the win, then that's gonna be bad for Leclerc, because he is fighting for the title, to be fair. And yeah, Hamilton is just right there behind us, but he's not gonna be able to get past us because he's not close enough. So that's good. Obviously taking it here for his corners, to be fair. I thought I was going to go into the wall, but Hamilton's getting closer, but I don't think he's going to be able to send it here. So yeah, we're eventually going to have to pit around in a couple of laps time, or maybe in like halfway through the race, because I'm planning to do a one-stop, and I think a one-stop is possible. I can't just not go to the end of the race, because yeah, I won't have the pace to. Sorry, I had a little bit of a hiccup there, and yeah. We are starting to gap Hamilton again a little bit. Hamilton's not getting close enough on the straights, but I think he may or may not have higher wings, which is why he might be quicker than us. So yeah. As yeah, oh my days, the curve was absolutely sliding me, to be fair. Wait, what am I saying? The curve's absolutely sliding. Yeah, the curve is making me slide, to be fair. This is gonna be a pretty interesting battle, to be fair, to see if I can keep Hamilton at bay. However, it does seem like that Hamilton really wants to get past us. As a lap down here, he does try again, and yeah, Jeff told me to change my strategy as I was going to actually box one lap earlier, and unfortunately I go very, very wide, which isn't going to help us, as Hamilton, yep, is going to get past us here, but I have a better exit, and eventually, because I have the ERS, yeah, eventually with me putting the ERS into Hollap and the fuel into rich mode, we're actually going a lot quicker than Hamilton here. As you can see, I tried going here to the left, but he swerves here, he swerves, and eventually I have to go to the left. I said left twice, I have no idea why. I'm going to go around the outside of Hamilton, and I cut the track. I don't know why it's so hard to overtake without getting a warning. I swear I've struggled to do that, to be fair. Oh well, we've gapped Hamilton now by like, over a second, so that is really going to help us now. And yeah, the tires look pretty dead, to be fair, which is concerning me a little bit. The only one component I think I have is the ERS one, so the ERS storage.
First position, front of the pack, Hamilton behind. Okay, the gap behind is 1.0 seconds. They're on old inters. 6 laps until your pit window is open. 26 laps to go.
Yeah, well, I do have 16 laps to go, which is a very long way till the end of the race. As Hamilton is once again close, as you can see, the proximity hour is very close, and because I'm very slow through that corner, Hamilton, of course, is going to have the slipstream from me, and he's eventually going to try and overtake me again, but I, of course, I'm going to brake a lot later now, and yeah, eventually we're going to stay out of Hamilton, even though that exit from that corner was pretty bad, even though I don't think Hamilton's really going to be close enough to get past us. We're staying ahead of him for another lap, I suppose. However, to be fair, my tires were really starting to fall off, to be fair. I was honestly struggling really bad. As here, I was actually had a bit of a snap, and Hamilton was behind us, to be fair, but Vettel luckily was not catching up to us, even though Hamilton's going to try and overtake us again, but we're all going to brake later, again, as usual, and we're going to stay ahead of him as holy. The car is really struggling, to be fair. I am struggling literally for grip, to be fair. The tires honestly feel dead, to be fair, and Hamilton is going to get close again here, and eventually he's going to try and send it down the, around the outside here. I'm going to try and keep the inside line, even though I have a bit of a poor exit, and for some absolute reason, I have no idea what I'm doing here. For some absolute reason, you can see from the throttle thing, I forgot to, because I'm using a controller, basically, I forgot to put the RT stick at, like, a max, and now I basically was now stuck behind Hamilton, even though I was going to plan on sending on him, but to be fair, it was going to be too risky, to be fair. Even though, however, here, I have an absolutely terrible corner exit here, and Hamilton's now gapped me, so, yeah, we have lost the lead, but to be fair, I don't think I even had the pace for the win anyways. Yeah, Hamilton's now going to gap us now, so I don't think there's really anything I can do, to be fair. So I'm probably just going to have to focus and now try and keep this podium position as Vettel's around 5 seconds behind. So yeah, we're going to have to focus now.
Battery charge is high. Let's increase it.
And yeah, honestly, I could not drive anymore. My tires were already at like half wear, and it was like 14. To be fair, I was going to plan to box, to be fair, and I could both laps, but honestly, I was struggling, to be fair, really badly, and I could not really stick with Hamilton, which was a little bit of a problem. But to be fair, I'm probably just going to let him win this race, I suppose. And yeah, eventually, a couple of laps later, I decided to pit since my tires were honestly gone. Not gonna lie, I thought I broke way too late, and I thought I was gonna speed into a pit lines. Yeah, Hamilton is just in the pit, just ahead of us, and yeah, we're gonna be now changing on to another set of intermediates, which will bring us hopefully to the end of the race, as here we are, and we're gonna do a 2.06 stop, which is pretty quick, even though my pit exit was a little bit slow, to be fair. And yeah, eventually I think Leclerc has taken the lead, as eventually the pit lane exit is a little bit longer, as it's practically just a straight here, and we're going to come out, unfortunately, behind Albon and Stroll. So now we're going to be stuck in traffic. Now, I'm not too sure if I'm going to be able to get past these guys, because I'm most likely going to pit at least a lap later, because usually when one AI, if everyone's like on a safe strategy, then one team is going to pit, and then the other one is going to pit the lap after. So yeah, eventually, yeah, we're now in P6 right now, and Hamilton was in P3, I mean, just behind, Leclerc and Valtteri, and yeah, I really will get past these two, but I am honestly struggling to be fair. I'm not getting close enough, and Leclerc was 7 seconds behind.
We have P6, Albon ahead, less than a second separate you. They're on old inters. Leclerc behind, our gap behind is 7.3 seconds. They're on fresh inters. Okay, gap to leader, 8.1 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 18 laps to go.
So yeah, practically everyone's going to be going to the end. Yes, yep, Albon is really slow here. This is really not helping me. And Leclerc has caught up by almost... Wait, I think he's caught up by like a bit of a gap, which is concerning, to be fair. I really want to get past Albon, as I actually put the fuel into rich and put my ERS into a high overtake mode, so we could eventually swipe past Albon and get past him. However, unfortunately, I decided to brake. I completely forgot to brake, and we ended up cutting the corner, and we got another 3-second penalty. Oh dear me. Okay, well, this is not going pretty well, to be fair. Hamilton's now gapped us by 6 seconds. I swear the gap was like 3 seconds just before the end of the lap, and he somehow sets a new fastest lap. Okay, I have no idea how that's possible, to be fair. Oh, well, Kimi's gonna pin now. Oh, man, we got another penalty here. We're just gonna probably just stay 6 seconds ahead of Leclerc, and then we should be good, hopefully. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. I think we're overall quicker than Leclerc behind. I don't know how that makes sense, to be fair. Given the fact that I'm in the second worst car and that Leclerc is in the second best car, so yeah, I don't know what that's about, to be fair. Ferrari custom engine team quicker than the actual Ferrari team, which is quite funny, to be fair. So yeah, we're probably just gonna have to stick out here and try and not crash, because if we crash, our race will practically be over, to be fair. I really want to get the podium here, but like, I'm kind of frustrated. To be fair, I had the pace for the win at the beginning of the race, but now I just honestly do not have any pace. Hamilton is way quicker than me. He's gotten about almost 1.5 seconds in a lap. I have no idea how that is possible, to be fair, and I think Leclerc is actually closing in, which is concerning me, to be fair. So this might not go well, to be fair. Oh well, we're probably just gonna have to push and try and see if we can be quicker than Leclerc, which will eventually give us the podium, so yeah. And to be completely honest, I had pretty high hopes, to be fair, as yeah. We were actually saying our fastest lap on lap 21, so we actually did have the pace, to be fair. I knew we actually had the pace to actually catch up, but I, to be fair, knew we were not going to be consistent. And because I was struggling really bad on the first day when the tires were like nearly dead, I knew like, bro, I cannot do this, man, seriously. The tires will probably be dead and I won't even be able to catch up anyway, but it doesn't mean that we're all actually gapping Leclerc, but Hamilton is really not getting anywhere near, though. He's still a massive, longer way ahead, to be fair. So yeah, we're probably not going to catch up to him anytime soon. And to be fair, look at the minimap. Kimi's at the moment, and I think he's fine for P15 with the Toro, so I think that's Kimi. As Gasly actually started at the back. But that's awesome, and yeah, to be fair, there's not really anything surprising, to be fair, and there's not really any track battles. There's like one, to be fair, and that is really it, to be fair. This race has been pretty boring, to be fair. There have not been any safety cars, or crashes, to be fair, which has made this race pretty boring, but not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy that I'm fine for a podium, so that's something. And to be fair, sorry, literally nothing was happening in this entire race. All I just did was say brand new fastest lap just about 6 laps later. And I don't get why, for some reason, towards the end of the final lap, I did not go full throttle. As you can see there in the bottom right on my screen, I was not going full throttle. So yeah, eventually the lap would have been a bit quicker, to be fair, if I actually did go full throttle. So yeah. And to be completely honest with you, Hamilton is building a pretty decent lead in the championship. Although Leclerc is trying to fight, Leclerc's going to have a pretty dismal race, as he's only finishing P3, whilst Hamilton's going to get 10 more points than him. I don't know how I even have the fastest lap, to be fair, because I low-key thought I could not get any more after Hamilton started being quicker than me, but I was completely wrong, to be fair. I'm only 6 seconds off Hamilton, so if he had like a 10-second penalty, I would actually end up winning, but unfortunately he doesn't. So yeah, I can't really do much, to be fair.
The situation is an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got right now.
I mean, Jeff, I don't get how it's an interesting tire situation, because, like, basically, there's been, like, no change to the weather, so I don't get how the tire situation is interesting. It's still intermediate conditions, of course. So, yeah, I don't get what that's about. Eventually, yeah, Kimi Räikkönen is at the moment P14, so he has recovered from starting last, to be fair, somewhat. And I think he's fine with both Reynolds for P12, so that's pretty good, to be fair. But no, I don't know if that's P13 or something. I don't know what position he's occupying with us. Yeah, here we are. We're lapping Robert Kubica. As, yeah, he's just being slow as usual. I mean, Kubica is not a terrible driver by any means, of course. He was destined to be a future world champion, except that rally crash that he had in 2011 or something really ruined his career, to be fair. And yeah, he wasn't really the same, to be fair, which is very unfortunate. But Kubica, I'm happy to see that he's still racing in motorsports. So yeah, here we are lapping him on the game, and to be fair, I was hoping I could get a brand new fastest lap from being quick, but look at the second sector, I was practically down, so there was just no chance I was gonna get like a new fastest lap, to be fair. I don't know why Kubica was not letting me past here, even though I was clearly in blue flags condition. I tried moving onto the opposite side of the track, but he still didn't want to let me go. This was really confusing me, to be fair. Like, I have no idea what is even happening at this point, like, seriously, bro. I mean, at least he let me pass, though, after this corner, as eventually, yeah, the final corner here, we're eventually just gonna get past him, and yep, we've lapped someone, I suppose. That is pretty good. The tires feel like they're gonna explode at this point. We have 2 more laps, but I think they should last perfectly fine. So, yeah. And eventually, here we are heading on to the final lap of the race, as to be fair, this has been one of the most boring races yet, and to be fair, I don't think I'm going to be catching up to Hamilton anytime soon. So yeah, eventually heading on to the last lap, we're probably just going to try and limp the car and take it to P2. Which is going to be a very good result for the team, considering we've had a lot of terrible GPs, to be fair, and I've never really had the luck to be able to fight for good points. This is really going to be excellent, and the team are going to be very happy with me. I did not expect to have the pace, to be fair, to even fight for the podium, which is honestly quite shocking to me, and probably to everyone else on the grid, which is pretty interesting. Hamilton is probably out of sight, to be fair. Even if I didn't have the penalties, I would just not have the pace to catch up to him. So yeah, but at least we've had a good race for us, to be fair, considering I was kind of scared that we were going to get sacked by the team like last time I went the 2018 season after we had apparently poor performances according to McLaren, when we literally were beating Van Dorn, which was not make any sense whatsoever. But this season, to be fair, I still thought being a lot better, to be fair, in my opinion, probably because we've had less DNF, as Lewis Hamilton is going to be rounding up the final corner. I don't know why there's a yellow flag. I think Alex Albon's retiring on the last stop like he did in Shanghai, oh dear me. But Lewis Hamilton is going to come home and take the Canadian GP as another victory for him and the championship. But we're going to come home for second place and P2 for the Alfa Romeo team. Scarborough back on the podium since the 2012 Japanese Grand Prix.
You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
For me, it's Kimi Räikkönen, someone who definitely doesn't get enough attention for how well he performs out on the track.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So after all of that, Lewis Hamilton is going to come home and take the race win. We come home for second and our first podium in F1. That was a brilliant drive from us, to be fair. I am very satisfied, and the team will be also. Just ahead of Leclerc, Vettel, Bottas, Verstappen. And yeah, that'll be our top 6. Just ahead of Perez, Stroll, Magnussen, and Grosjean. Then is Ricciardo, Hulkenberg. Raikkonen recovers to P13 after starting last. Just ahead of Kvyat, Gasly, Sainz, Norris. McLaren did not have a good day. They just struggled. Russell, Albon, who retired on the final lap. I have no idea what happened. And Kubica round off the finishers. As, yeah. Championship stand is Hamilton does take the lead back from Leclerc, and we move all the way up to P10 after that podium. So that is a very good result. We overtake practically everyone because we're like P18 in the championship. Anyways, there isn't really much movement at the back anyway, and it's still both Williams who haven't scored yet. Constructors, Alfa Romeo move all the way up to P6 now because of that result. Very well done to them, and Force and Racing Point actually get past McLaren. So that is a pretty awesome job from them. Oh my days, bro. I'm so happy this race actually went pretty well. And yeah, to be fair, I have nothing else to say. So I'll see you all next video, I suppose. So, bye.